Okay, sorry. Happy Wednesday, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome to the Abomination Goddess podcast. I am here with Casie Halseth. Yay. Love having her. Casie is the author of Abomination Born. It is a fictional portrayal of her real life experience in the mystical realms. Her action packed book is full of lessons and insights and calls for other Abomination Born folks in the world to start connecting. And that's what we do on our podcast. She is an award-winning public speaker, and I think that you'll find by watching this podcast and reading her books that she just effortlessly draws her audience into her world, both in her book and on her stage. And I love having my chats with Casie each Wednesday. That's what I think of these, by the way. I call them like our chats. And I learned so much. And I also feel like she does an amazing job just supporting other women or just anybody on their journey and learning more and, having their veil lifted. So, welcome, Casie. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and I am Ashley Kim. I am the author of Villain Era Goddess. I wrote this book to help women on their journey to set boundaries, build confidence, and heal themselves. It is a very honest and open look at what I have went through and the tools that I use to survive my villain era. And we are so happy to have you guys here today. Yay!
Yay.
Days are the good days. Okay. So usually first thing we do is jump into show and tell. So I will go ahead and get that started. It's one of my most favorite parts.
Mine too.
All right. So move this little thing around. Okay. Where do we want to start?
I've got the ant
Yeah,
that
let's do
right
that
there.
one. That looks so cool.
It is. And that's again from that Witch's Familiar Oracle cards deck.
Yeah. Yes.
Isn't that cool? There's a giant ant in the foreground there, and then all
Mhm.
those other little ants.
Yep. And
And I'll,
cooperation.
right, when I pulled that, and you don't have to go to that page. I'll pull it up. There's a bit. She has a little something that she wrote after every one of the creatures that she puts in.
Mhm.
This is the ant cooperation. Help us at hand, nothing to fear. Weight is relieved when ant is near. I'll swallow my pride, be part of the team, burdens now lifted to follow my dream. I call upon ant to assist me and harness this power, so mote it be.
Ooh, I love that.
Isn't it nice? She's got one of those
Yeah.
for every one of the critters.
Really? Oh, I
Mhm.
love it so much.
And then she
I love it.
says, cooperation will remove all obstacles in your way. Using patience, courage, and persistence, I will guide you to rebuild your life for the good of all concerned. I
Ooh,
love
I love
Ant.
it. Yeah, I like that. That's a good one.
Hmm.
For those who aren't looking at the screen, it's like Casie said, an ant in the foreground, and then behind the ant are a couple mushrooms with some ants crawling over those. It's a really cool card.
Yeah, it is.
I will show. Let's see what there.
Oh yeah,
So if
that's
anyone's
that.
looking for it, it's from this one, right? You said?
Yeah, that's
Okay,
it.
yes. Yep. So if anybody is looking for this deck, this is what you want to look for when you're out
Which
shopping.
Witches Familiars Oracle cards by Barbara Mecklejohn Free and Flavia Kate Peters.
Yes. Nice. Ooh, I love it.
Hmm.
And then yeah, this is what the inside of the book looks like. I won't leave it up for too long, but
Yeah, that's what I
I love
read.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
like
And
that
so now,
each one of them has something, you
yes,
know.
I love that. Yeah.
Mhm.
So much time was taken to do that. Um, okay. And then next we have this.
Whether or Not by Katrina Roshbold, Rasbold. And
Hmm,
what this book is, it's not very big. It's a very thin little book, but it's about traditions and sayings having to do with weather. And
oh,
I pulled out a particular page, we have, we've talked about different things having to do with the moon,
Mhm.
and she talks about the different moon phases. The see here, the new moon is a time of growth. The waxing moon, which comes after that, that waxing means it's building, is a time for actions. The full moon is like the time of harvest, or she says fruition. The waning moon, that's when the moon is getting smaller again, is time of letting go. And the dark moon is when you actually have banished things. So
Mm.
these things, I had gone to this conference in Eureka Springs, or no, in Conway, Arkansas, a couple weeks ago, and Friday Gladheart was there talking about this, and she said that you can use the moon to help you with your everyday life
Mhm.
and what your goals might be. So during the new moon period, you might write down what you would like to grow, what kind of with for your business or whatever. And then for the waxing moon, as the moon is building, uh, what are the action steps that you would want to take? And then at the full moon, what kind of things have you noticed that you've been successful at, like the
Mhm.
harvest? What are you good at? And right now we're just ahead of the full moon. The full moon is, I think, on the 12th. Yeah, the full moon's on the
Mhm.
12th of
Yeah.
this month, and it's going to be what they call the pink moon. Some people call it the pink moon, and that's because it's named after the pink phlox, those beautiful flowers.
Mm. Mhm. Ooh, I didn't know
And
that.
then,
That's neat.
yeah, right now this is these couple days just before the full moon. Every full moon, a few days before the full moon, I feel kind of weird, and I
Yeah.
need I need a boost or something. And
Yes.
I think it's because just before that, during the waxing, everything is building and building and building, and you need a time of, okay, no more. I need a
Right.
break. And then so the full moon is when you really look at it and you harvest it, and no more building anymore. And then for the rest of the time, you're starting to get rid of things that don't work for you.
Yep.
I liked my month, but this didn't work, and so you start to
Mhm.
think about taking it away. And then um, at the end of that period, you've already taken it away before the next new moon starts. Anyway, I,
Yeah.
I just really like thinking about using the moon, like Friday Gladheart had said, to use the moon to uh, help with your goals that you set in business or
Yeah.
anything.
Right. Nope, I love that. I read a book. Oh, I should find that for our next week. I think it was like Money Witch or something like that, but she does everything by the moon phases, growing and shrinking, like all of her business
Oh,
goals,
okay.
budgeting, everything is based on the moon phase and what phase you're in, based on is it time to start letting things go or cutting some things out, or is it time to start growing, just doing
Yeah.
all of it with the moon. And I liked that idea. I also liked that for some reason it just felt more gentle to me. Um, like I don't have to meet a goal tomorrow. If I do it with the moon, then that means I have to be patient and I'm, kind of just flowing with that cycle versus trying to force something to happen fast and being stressed out about it. And so yeah, I really liked that. Just I don't know, the concept brought a little bit more peace to me, if that makes
Uh,
sense.
It does. I had read this before I went to the Friday Gladheart's lecture, but I hadn't really absorbed it until she took the time to explain it and how I
Yeah,
could use it in my
yeah,
life. I mean, I know how the moon phases work, and I've for sure for planting, but to
right.
actually use it for creating that magic within our own life,
Yep.
it just opened up a whole new door for me. I just loved
Yes,
it.
I love that. And don't you like it when somebody says something exactly how you needed to hear it in order for
Yeah,
it to connect in your brain? You're like,
yeah,
oh, that's what everyone else was saying. Okay, I get it.
yeah. And I had read it, and it didn't
Yeah.
sink in. It
Yeah.
It's so weird. I do need to sit and listen to people talk, because if I read things, sometimes it goes in one eye and out the other.
Oh yeah, same here. It has to be presented in and however I need it at that moment.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, okay, so I have two new books I was going to show off. This one, and I wanted to ask you, your Dragon Oracle cards, are they by Carolyn Mitchell or the you might not remember,
No,
but
I don't think so.
okay, because there's a few different sets of Dragon Oracle cards out there, but I picked up this book before I knew that she had Oracle cards too, but I think I will go find them. But
Should
it
I go
has
look?
been really
I can go get that if you want me to.
yeah, sure, if you want to.
All right.
Yeah.
Sure. Keep talking.
Okay. Okay, so I liked this book. It's How to Live with Dragons, and it's a dragon path guide to healing, empowerment, and adventure. So, what I thought was super interesting about it is she talks about dragons, like they're here in a different dimension, obviously. But what I liked about it is I'm one of those people who wants to see patterns on things before I even start to look into it. And dragons is one of the things that I keep seeing a pattern in my life with. And so I thought, well, maybe it's time to start researching dragons a little bit more. And I had been reading about obviously how they show up in every culture, almost every culture, that even in some of the old cathedrals in Europe, some of their old art does depict dragons, but they've hidden all of that and they don't show it anymore, and just things like that. So it leads me to believe that there is something to it, right? And so I've just been reading a little bit more about them. But one of the things I thought was really cool is so she has this um, diagram that shows you all of the different chakra levels. And I wanted to show this to you, Casie, because I thought this was super interesting.
I know. I
And
printed it up. I just love
did
it.
you? Yes. I like how it, goes into the heart of Mother Earth and then it goes up into the interdimensional gateway. Like it, has all these different ones. It just it made me feel small but protected at the same time when I saw this. And so
Yes.
I'm excited to learn about all these different chakras, because for example, dolphin matrix, I don't even know what that means. But I'm excited to learn about that and just, find out more. Um, and I think the neat thing about this book is that it's just another way to kind of open your eyes to being open in general. So you don't have to believe everything you read, you don't have to follow everything you read. But I do like reading something new, if that makes sense. And so I've really been enjoying this book. She wrote it without a lot of guidance from anyone else, really. So it would be interesting to see what, as I do my research, just to see what other people say about dragons in general. But I thought this
Oh,
was cool.
yeah. I think it's really
Um,
cool. Did you notice at the bottom, the bottom, way down there, it says the heart of Mother Earth is deep copper. We've been talking
yes,
about copper and why we're
yes,
drawn to copper. Where
yes.
that's the ultimate going down deep, you
Yeah.
know. And
Yes. Yeah.
and that's it. As soon as I read that, I was like, I got tingles, and I thought, oh, that's it. That's what I've been missing. I've been trying to figure out why. What is with
Yeah.
copper? Why am I drawn to it? Yes, I know it has a lot of energies. Everything has energy. Yes, it talks to me and everything. But this position way down, that
Hmm.
was it.
Yep. I know. I know. Yeah, you're right. It answered some questions.
Mhm.
And I was the same way because when I was just researching copper, I was getting a lot of, honestly, at first I got more scientific medical information before I ever got like that spiritual, energetic information. And like copper is huge as far as the benefits and what it does to your body. And even if somebody doesn't believe in anything spiritual, or anything like that, you can't deny all the other benefits from copper, So, I mean, it is like a power substance, in my opinion. So yeah, I saw that too, and I thought that was so cool.
Yeah. Well, this is that
Um,
that dragon book. It's by Sean Mackenzie.
Sean McKenzie. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to look up that one too.
It's called Tarot of Dragons.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Hmm. And the book inside is called Wisdom from the Dragon Realms.
Ooh. Okay. Yeah. All
Yeah, I
right.
love
Sean
it.
McKenzie. Yeah, I will look that one up too. Um, okay. this isn't a great picture, but this is another book that I picked up recently. And this author, Karen M. Rose, she is on Instagram and she has a lot of information that she posts, and she has a few other books too. Um, and what I liked about this book is obviously I like my herbs. I have herbs in my backyard and I like learning about them. But she talks about, actually, I wonder if it's in this photo. Maybe not. So she talks about how her family moved to the United States of America and pretty much lost all of their knowledge because they decided to do things the way that people did things here, as far as how you go to the
Hmm.
doctor, religions,
Hmm.
all that kind of stuff. And then she realized that she was missing out on a lot of really good knowledge by following this more Western ideologies instead of learning about her ancestors and how they did things. And so she is looking up indigenous practices of yeah, Africa, Caribbean, Latin America. I think even some Asian countries she was looking at. I don't see that on here though. Um, anyway, and so she's going back to herbalism and medicine from the very beginning, right? And obviously, like, go to the doctor if you need to go to the doctor. I'm not trying to tell people not to go to the doctor, but it is interesting to read a book that talks about if you're having digestive issues, maybe you need to heal a wound with your mother, or, like just things like that that you might not think about. And she covers the heart, digestion, liver, like she covers everything. And she covers herbs that would go with each one of them. And I just think it's beneficial to, learn any kind of information like that that you can, and figure out what kind of knowledge are you missing. Even something as simple when it comes to herbalism, even something as simple as making a tea for period cramps versus getting Midol and putting that, putting something extra in your body. Everybody do what you need to do. Don't feel like I'm pressuring you and I'm not going to be a fanatic, but I do think it is beneficial to learn what kind of plants are literally in your backyard and if they can help you. Because we're out here pulling weeds that can make a healing balm, can do all kinds of things for you. And instead, we're calling them weeds, we're killing them and replacing them with grass that isn't helping us do anything. Um, so, anyway, that was a big long
Yeah.
spiel.
No, that's wonderful. It's a wonderful book. And remember, I think I've said this to you that I used for years Jethro Kloss' Back to Eden. He wrote
Yeah.
it in the what maybe the 1920s, I think, something like
Okay.
that. And I relied on that. And so many times I healed the dogs with it. I healed both
Yes.
Al and me, little things that
Yep.
would go wrong.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah. I need to get that book. Um, yep. I just think it's so important, especially as women, that we start really looking at some of these things that our female ancestors were very quite
right.
attuned to and knowledgeable about. Yeah.
My grandma wasn't as good with the herbs as her aunt. Her aunt was the herb lady.
Mhm.
She lived in the woods and everyone would go to her for everything. And grandma did say that it, she didn't know the names for sure of all the plants that we had here, but they were similar to what she had in Hungary. But she would say that, if you put it against your cheek, take the leaf of it and put it against your cheek. And if it feels good, then you know it's going to be okay for you. And she was real
Oh,
sensitive with feeling.
yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
that I'm that sensitive with feeling, but I have done it several times, and um, I've made the most wonderful teas by
Oh,
following that
yeah.
system. If
Yeah.
the tea leaf, even if it's a dried leaf, if it feels good on my cheek, I know I'm going to like it.
Yeah.
And
Oh, I love
then she
that.
said, yeah, then she said the other thing was that if the leaf is in the shape of something in your body, then that will be good for that part of your body. And so, like, if it was in the
Oh,
shape of a heart, then for your heart.
yeah.
If it's in the shape
Yeah.
of a kidney, it would be good for your kidney. Shape of your liver. I'm not sure what a liver looks like, but
Yeah. I think
and
it's
if
like a
it had
weird little,
long things, it was your limbs, or a finger.
yeah. Oh, that is so interesting. Yeah, I see, I hear things like this and I get sad that like we weren't taught, all of that.
Yeah. Yes. Well,
Yeah. Oh, I love
it
that.
was very much it was frightening. Matter of fact, when Grandma would talk about herbs, she was made sure that, because they used to hang women
Yes. Yeah.
especially,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they made it very difficult for a woman to even talk about healing, because
Right.
if you did, um, the medical people would come against you. And so
Exactly.
Grandma was very careful, very, very
Yep.
careful.
Yes. Yes. Yep. Yeah. A lot of things were kind of stolen from us in that regard.
Yeah, and still
Yeah.
are.
Yep. Yep. Completely. Okay, so the last thing that I had here was I just wanted to there's an artist that I found on Spotify. His name is Abel Hart, and he creates more upbeat tempos close to like rap or pop music, and but they have affirmations in them. He will has some of his music is at a certain frequency depending on if someone's trying to manifest something or heal something in their bodies. And yeah, his music is so uplifting and fun.
Yeah,
And so his name is Abel Hart. So yeah, and I think you can
like
find him
this.
anywhere.
He says, "I'm a magnet. I attract it. Feel the love coming to me. I have it." That's how he sings it. I'm a magnet.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I was listening to it and I was like, oh, I like this. And I
Yeah.
was, it's totally a different genre than I'm used to. And I mean, I listen to opera. That's kind of
Right.
my thing. And I really liked it. You can
Yeah.
understand what he's saying.
Yep.
He's all these positive affirmation. I thoroughly
Yes.
enjoyed his. They're
Yeah.
short. His little songs are short.
Yep. Yeah. He's also fun to follow on Instagram too.
Oh, I'll have to check him out.
Yeah, I
I'm
follow him
loving
there.
Instagram.
Yes. Yeah. So he like he'll have people that try to, comment mean things on him and he'll just create fun little dances and, stuff and just kind of laugh along with people who are trying to be nasty. He's not going to let them get to him.
He'll write a
So yeah.
song,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I just am enjoying his music and then I'm enjoying him on Instagram as well. So I had to share.
his name is Abel Hart, right?
Yes. Yep.
It's a
Abel
cute
Hart.
name,
Yeah,
Abel
it
Hart.
is. Yeah, I loved it. Okay. So another thing that I wanted to bring up is I saw this TikTok video and it was a lady saying, like, give me your most insane, unhinged, like witchy hacks. I don't want to hear about like mirror work or like, what you hear about all the time. And so this is one I feel like we need a better term than witchy because I kind of feel like it's just, I don't know, intuition or like, I don't know, like using the earth or what's around you. And maybe that, I don't know, maybe witchy is just the only definition there is right now. But um, anyone who's not into witchy stuff, don't let this make you want to stop listening because everything that a woman does that connects her to the universe or the earth or the moon or whatever is deemed evil and witchy. So just kind of put that on your head and move forward for anyway. So she just says, just give me all of your tips, your hacks, like everything. And the comment section was so fun to read through. And so I wanted to read some of them to you, Casie, to get your take on them. And then I don't know, just to see what you think. And just, I want to know if there's any that you would correct and say you should do it this way instead, or just anything like that. So, okay, here we go. The first one, this lady said, tell the trees what he did. Their network with all of nature is deep. Nature will avenge you. And so, yes, I know you talk to trees, I talk to trees, we listen. I don't know, what are your thoughts on that?
I think it's good.
Yeah, I liked it too. A lot of these were about revenge, which I thought, well, I think you can connect with trees in a very, non-revengeful way too, if you wanted to. But it does kind of make you feel a little bit better to be like, oh, somebody, these things have my back. I kind of like that. Um, okay, another person says never make fun of the stuff you own, your car, appliances, house, clothes, plants, etc., because they have their own spirit energy that will get offended and start breaking down and turning on you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's it. Is it called animus? When that's kind of how I am. I put my hand near things, and pretty soon something will just not feel right. I don't need it anymore. And I
Yeah.
did that with all my clothes. I got rid of all my clothes that didn't have that really good, kind of like that Marie Kondo kind of thing.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, but I had done it long before her. And yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's really true. When
Yeah.
when I walk into the house, I want that feeling of um, feeling safe and
Hmm.
wonderful, and everything there I like. And
Yes.
of course, it all
Yeah.
came from the Humane Society or or some
Right.
thrift shop or something, but
Right.
things that I really like.
Hmm. There are sometimes I prefer the thrift shop only because sometimes the energy is already so good on an item.
Yes.
It's like, yeah, I want that in my house. I don't know who had this before me, but I thank them for whatever they
Hmm.
did to it because it feels good.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. I completely agree with that. Okay. So, the next one is two commas, but they're kind of similar. So one lady said, whenever you get mad, and I mean shaking with rage, get to work. And so another lady followed up with that and said, demand change with the rage in your soul as it spills out of your lungs. Anger is a highly underused energy source. So I wanted to get your take on that to see if you agree with that.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I really like sound as a cure for anger or to help channel the anger. And I think that's
Hmm.
also why I like this Abel Hart's music, is
Yeah.
because uh, it channels the feeling of the anger and makes it go into something positive.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I agree with that. And my personal belief is I think rage was kind of taken away from women because we have to be pleasant all the time. And so I do think that, I don't know, we should learn how to just have it in our lives and how to deal with it. I don't think it should consume us by any means. But I did kind of like the thought of using rage to propel you further. And then,
Hmm.
like what you were saying, you can channel it into something else. So it doesn't mean you're going to sit around and be angry the whole
Hmm.
time. But if you have this big, massive energy, why not channel that into something good for you, right? Take that
Hmm.
and use it instead of letting it consume you and poison you in your body. So I don't know. I liked that concept just like overall. And
Hmm.
I like how you rephrased it into channeling it because I think
Hmm.
really that's what they're trying to say too, is
Yeah.
that you're channeling that.
When we
Yeah.
grew up, my dad would move the kitchen table off to the side and he'd turn on the music, and it would be polka music, of course. And he would polka my mom around the kitchen. And I don't care how mom had a lot of things to do. There was 5 kids, and she didn't have time to stop. But by the time that music was done, she was in a really good mood.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. Yep, we do something similar. We turn on music when it's time to do anything we don't want to do, cleaning, cooking, whatever, and we dance while we're doing it. And you're right, the mood is completely different.
Yes.
I will also, I've, I don't know, I've been only doing this for a couple months though, but like if I have an ache or pain in my body, I have been turning on music and
Oh,
dancing.
good
And
idea.
it goes away within just a couple minutes where I was having bad calf pain or something and then it's just gone, and it's like, okay, well, that was the answer, I guess.
Well, music is a frequency, and so
Hmm.
maybe it just needed that frequency to help it along.
Yeah, yep, yep, moving on out of there. So yeah, I love that. And yeah, music is amazing. And yeah, Abel Hart is amazing. Okay.
Yes, yes.
So another person said, use the river spirits, just give an offering, they work quick. And so I've seen a lot of people on TikTok talking about river spirits, almost to the point where I want to be like, make sure you're not abusing this. Because if everyone's just going to the river, to the water and demanding a bunch of stuff, like that's not, I don't know, I feel like it can get warped. But I do see a lot of people talking about river spirits and how they can help you, and to give an offering, which to me could be maybe cleaning up their space, especially if you're out at a public park or something. There's always trash around. So yeah, I don't know. Have you ever done that? Because I know with water in general, water has a history. remembers everything. Water can, talk to you in general. So yeah, what do you think on this?
Well, I talk with the water every day. That's part of my morning. Well, maybe sometimes a couple times a day. So yeah, I'll lay my hand right above the water and thank it. And um, water has a memory. Even though I just have it like in a cup on my table next to all my stones, it remembers everything. It just like my stones remember everything. So does the water. And
Mhm.
so if I need some comforting, the water, the water gives me
Yeah.
that comfort. And I don't even have to get wet. I just have to be close to it and have uh my attention on it.
Yeah. Yep. Yes, I love that. And I've been, if I have a stressful day and I'm soaking in the bathtub, I've been doing a better job of just being mindful of the water, while I'm in there. And yeah, yeah, kind of like a little hug.
Like a little
Yeah.
hug.
Yeah. I love that. Okay. So another lady said you can put a protection on your name so when anyone speaks or thinks bad or negative about you, um, or on you, they have stuff that go wrong with them. And so I want to rephrase that because I'm one of those people where I don't necessarily think you should always like try to just send something bad to someone just because they did to you. Um, but I will say that I did do a like a transmutation spell when I knew that some people were talking bad about me, so that when they did say my name, I would get money, and
Yeah.
it did work. And I would say within about 3 months, they just cut me out of their lives. And I have a feeling subconsciously they knew they should not be saying my name anymore. But it was kind of fun though, because I would get like a gift card in the mail or I would get like a refund somewhere I didn't see, like I was getting all this stuff. And so the whole time I'm like, well, thank you, keep talking about me. I don't know what kind of stuff you're saying, but keep it up because I'm enjoying all this. And then, yeah, they just cut me out. But it was very interesting to just watch that whole process like take place and run its course.
I love that solution of yours. I just love it.
Yeah.
Turn, choose again. If they
Mhm.
have something and they're sending that negative energy your way, choose again and turn it into something good
Yeah.
and thank
Yeah.
it. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. That was
Thank you.
great. Yeah.
Thank you.
Whatever you got to
I
say,
just
keep
love
chatting
that.
away.
Hmm. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and it did help my mental health too because you get kind of nervous about people talking bad about you, right? Well, then suddenly I was like, let them. I hope they talk bad about me 5 times a day because that means that I'm going to get something really good like out of that.
Yes.
But yeah, it reframed this entire dramatic situation into something that was kind of funny and clever, like I don't know, it was kind of like,
It's just
I like that.
genius. Yeah.
Yeah,
I really
thank
thought I
you.
think it's perfect.
Thank you. I do the same thing with when I do any like mirror work because people will do like those mirror reversal spells where if somebody is sending you negative energy, it sends it back to them. And my problem is, why would I ever send them back energy that they can just use again? Like to me, that makes no sense. And it's more about like just revenge, which is your ego, which means you're not actually doing anything for the greater good. So I would like just dissipate that energy out into the universe. And that's kind of how I did things. But so I don't know. That's why when I said I was reading through these, I kind of felt like a lot of them were kind of revengey. But I think that you can reframe that yourself into whatever fits into your
Yeah,
practices.
turn it into something good. Again,
Yeah.
every
Yeah.
time they just it's benefit for you.
Yeah.
It
Exactly.
opens your creativity, so every time someone says something bad, oh, I'm going to get a new idea. Thank you.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You can play around with it. What do you want to
Hmm.
receive?
What do
Yep,
you want to receive? Exactly.
exactly. Yeah. So another comment that was on here was talking to your house kindly and then asking for help finding lost things. I always find things immediately after I ask my house for help. And we've talked about this before about your house is an entity. Wake it up, get to know your house. Our house, like even told me her name. Like, we're very connected. I know what's going on with my kids. I know what's going on everywhere in my house. And I love it. So yeah, and you can wake up your house by just greeting it and thanking it. And I'll even just pat the walls and say it was a good day today, just little things. And yeah, we ask our house to help us find stuff. I wouldn't say it's always immediate, but it is kind of funny where we'll walk out of a bedroom and trip over it and be like, okay, it was not here when I was first, going into the bedroom, but now I'm tripping over it. So yeah, wake up your house and talk to it, and it is a part of your family. And when you treat it as such, it becomes even more a part of your family. I think so anyway.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We've done that with our our minivan because we travel quite a bit because we
Oh
live
yeah.
where everything we go to is like a couple hours away for sure.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I've made the minivan as comfortable as possible, and
Hmm.
I call him the mini lodge, mini or the Dodge Mini Lodge, you know. And
I love that.
uh, yeah, she's really sweet, and yeah, so I do that with that too. And then we've got a
Yeah.
little golf cart that we take down to the creek because it's too far for us to walk anymore. And I call her Sparky, you know. So,
Yes. Oh, I love that.
and
Yeah.
every time we get in, I pat it. How are you?
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. I love that. And I remember my very first car. It was this 1974 Chevelle. It was huge. I absolutely loved that car, but I named it Charlene, Charlene the Chevelle. And
Yes.
then, yeah, later, waking up my house and like, having a name for her and everything. I did that. When did I stop naming stuff?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
why did I stop? I need to
And
get back into
yeah,
it. Yeah. So you
and
talking
treating it
about
with
your
that.
van.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. So that's a good reminder to me. I have not been treating my car that way. I have been thanking her and patting her, but I have not. That's really it. So I need to do more.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I love that. Oh, here's one I wanted to get your take on. So somebody said practice when it's storming or raining. Whenever the earth opens up, cosmic energy is released.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
what is your
that's
take
true.
on that?
Yeah, no, that's really true. Yeah, that's everything is awake, and yeah, so that's why you want to be careful that you're not in a bad mood, or because
Mm,
there's so much energy going in the direction that you're sending it. So you want
yeah.
to, so I'll look outside and say, "Oh, it's so beautiful. Oh, look at the storm." I will always
Oh,
uh, change it, no
mhm.
matter how, whatever it is. It's beautiful. It's
Yes.
wonderful.
Okay.
I'm, I don't, because it's so much energy coming in that
Hmm.
it needs to be kept in that wonderful range.
Yeah. That's a very good point. That's a great idea. Yeah, because that's not how people are talking about storms when they're rolling in. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, I love that. Cool. Okay. That is all I had for that TikTok video that I
those were
saw.
good. Those
Yeah,
were
weren't they
really good.
good?
Yeah,
Yeah. Such great reminders. Even some of the stuff where I was like, I knew that. It was also like, but I'm not doing anything with that knowledge. So it was a good reminder as well. Um, yeah. And then I just think, I don't know, I'm probably harping on this, but it did remind me of how often we just want revenge or we want to be heard, or things like that. And so it's just kind of a good reminder to kind of slow down and make sure that you're doing it with really good intentions for yourself and for the greater good. Um, so I don't know. I don't know why the whole sending back negative energy to someone just really makes me nervous. Like I don't.
yeah. Grandma would always say that's why you would wear the shawl because if you send out any negative energy horizontally, that's kind of the way it goes. Then it would come all the way around the earth and come back and hit you in the back of the neck.
Yeah.
So you have your protection shawl on. But the thing is not to send it out in the first place.
Right, right. Which I
But
get is
sometimes,
hard,
it
right?
leaks out. Yeah, it leaks
Yes, I'd
out
say I'm a
sometimes.
very
So,
sassy person. So
yeah,
yeah.
I, I I'm trying not to be, but my nature is, strike first. I have
Maybe
warrior
ask later
blood.
if I'm in a good mood.
Yeah. What?
Yep.
You didn't want to be sliced?
Oops,
Okay.
sorry, you got too close.
Sorry. Yeah. I'm thinking pickaxe. Oh, I used to. when I was younger and I could do it, I used to love to use the pickaxe in our yard because we have rocks. There's no
Mhm.
digging in the Ozarks. It's you
Yeah.
use the pickaxe to plant anything. It's the pickaxe, and I loved it. I even tiered our hill behind our house. I tiered the whole thing by hand with the pickaxe because I just loved it. It gets rid of so much energy, and then you feel it coming down into the earth and the vibration of it hitting into the ground. Oh,
Yeah.
I just loved it. And so every day I would spend some time with this big pickaxe and just go down into the
Out
earth.
there
And
in the dirt.
yeah, and I was always careful not to break the rocks. I'd be moving them and prying them loose and then and
Yeah.
find a beautiful place for the rocks. I have all
Yes.
these little rock piles.
Mhm.
I've
Oh
made
yeah.
rock walls.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I've been stacking the rocks in my little I have a little rock garden with a few plants, but yeah, I love arranging them and stacking them and yeah.
A lady came down here one time and she saw my rock walls and she says, "Don't you know that's the haven? Rock walls are a haven for snakes." And I said, "Oh, too late."
Yeah. Looks like we got snakes now.
We got lots of snakes.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, we have a big wood pile in the back of our yard, and so it somehow got knocked over this winter, but I was secretly kind of glad it did, just so we could see like who's living in there.
Yes.
Um, just kind of help me check it out. I know we do have a snake living in our garage. I didn't chase it out. I was like, well, if you can get in and out, it's all yours because it's just a gardener
Yeah.
snake, so it's not going to hurt
Oh,
anybody.
those are so nice. And they eat so many rodents.
Yeah,
That's their favorite diet, is
yeah,
bug.
yeah, yeah. So I just warn people, just watch where you're reaching in because it might move on you if it's alive. So just be
Yeah.
careful. Oh, I love that. Okay, so next week, because you are totally right about timing. I do want to get into chapter 2 of your book. I have lots of questions. Actually, that could probably be the second half of our podcast next week. But I did want to talk about the black and white checkered floor. I'm going to say her name wrong. Onagar,
Onagar. Yeah.
Onagar, the tree woman. I want to learn more about her. And what I'm really interested in, around page 13, the book starts talking about the lack of life force and people maybe trying to get it from other worlds because they're cut off from the supreme source and things like that. And that is very interesting to me. And I would love to learn more about just everything behind that scene. Um, I mean, whatever you can share. So, listeners, if you don't have this book yet, if you get it today, then you will be caught up at least by chapter 3 by next week. You'll probably be further, but you can at least get to chapter 3. And then you can um, follow along with us while we talk about it.
Yeah, I'm not that great of a writer. It's not like I'm a really fabulous writer or anything, but I I write about these things that I know, and I I do it in a way that this is how I remember it when I was little. It starts off when I was little, how I started to um, experience it all.
Mhm.
And so as I go further with all my writing, I explain it more and more. Like right now, I'm in the end of book 3, and I try over and over again. I use the same concept, same everything that I learned
Yeah,
when I was little, and so hopefully, eventually, what I'm trying to say will come out, and in a gentle way that it won't be too offensive. People have a chance to
yeah,
recognize these truths.
yeah, definitely. And I think you do. You say you're not a good writer. I think you are an excellent storyteller. And I think that what you just explained is exactly what you're doing. I do feel like it was a very easy, gentle way to learn about some things maybe I don't know about. And then to learn about things that a real person went through, I think is huge because selfishly myself, I've gone through things, I've seen things that I can't explain to anybody, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then I get to read an entire book where I know the first book is based on true events, and I know the others will have some fictional stuff, but this one, I know for a fact when I read this, I think, well, she's gone through way more than I ever have. So, like
Hmm.
I'm
Hmm.
not by myself at all. And yeah, anyway, so I appreciate that myself as just being the crazy woman in the family who people thought I should go speak to, mental health people because I was so off my rocker to get to meet a woman who has done 1,000 times more than what I've ever experienced. For me, it was very comforting. So I think that's one reason why I really love your book. And I think there's something to it. Like, why does my 5-year-old love this so much? Like there's just something to it.
Hmm.
Um, besides
Hmm.
the fact it's a beautiful cover and she knows that it's from you, which we started watching that podcast you were on, I think
Oh
yesterday.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah. I
yeah,
was
so
on, what was it called? The Spiritual Speakeasy podcast with
yeah,
um Julie Crouch. Boy,
yes,
she's
yep,
she's really nice.
yeah. And I can put a link in that in our newsletter so anyone else
Yeah,
who wants to
that'd
listen
be
to it. I
great.
didn't get to finish it, but so I'm gonna try to finish it today. But yeah, it
Her
was.
internet had gone down from that storm,
Oh
and so she
yeah.
was doing this with really bad internet connection, but it was
I
still
did see it
okay.
was freezing up a few times, but as long as you're gonna, just be patient, do something while you're listening, and you'll get there. Yeah,
Mhm.
so I'll include that in the newsletter that goes out with the podcast, and people can watch it because, yeah, from what I saw happening before I had to stop listening, it was going to be a really good podcast. So, yeah, I'm excited about
Yeah,
it.
it was at 9 o'clock at night, and my bedtime is like 8:30. So I made a few mistakes. I would say things. We talked about this podcast, and I think she said it was Villain Era Goddess podcast instead of uh, Abomination
Abomination Goddess.
Goddess. And
Hmm.
since it was after 8:30, past my
I'm
bedtime,
like,
it went
yeah,
right over my head.
sounds good to me. Well, the good news is if somebody does go to Villanera Goddess, they will find the podcast on Substack. It will be sitting there. So that's good. But yeah, I did see that part and I cracked up because I was like, yep,
And I
yeah.
called her Judy, I think, at one point instead of Julia. Her name's Julie. So I'm blaming it on lack of sleep.
No, I've been there. I tell my family if it's after 9, I have no brain power and I'm not nice. So like just just a heads up.
I'm just goofy.
Yeah. I'm goofy and I'm mean. It's not a good combo.
I'm only mean if I
Okay.
haven't eaten. Feed me.
Me too. Me too. Oh, I love it. Okay. Well, thank you again for another wonderful podcast, Casey. I love meeting with you. And yeah, this is always a highlight for me.
Me too.
Yay. Okay. Well, we hope everybody has a wonderful rest of the week, and we will see you next Wednesday.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.